Hello, my name is Martin Chow. Today I'm here with Grace Leong to speak about Dorje Shugden and for Grace to share her experience having practiced Dorje Shugden now for a few years. Grace is a qualified chartered accountant. She is also the principal and art director of Grace Salon. Grace is married and is a mother of 2 young adult children. So Grace, welcome.
Hi, Martin.
Now, can you tell us a bit about your life before you came across Buddhism?
Oh, I was born a Buddhist.
Yes.
But what exactly is a Buddhist at that time for me was just about visiting temples a few times a year and doing some rituals. Really more superstitious than anything else. I met Tsem Rinpoche about 6 years ago. I attended the Kachara function. And Rinpoche was giving a teaching, and then after that, the first department that I was more heavily involved with was with the Kachara Soup Kitchen.
Right.
And we still go as a family, and yeah, we spent 6 years volunteering in the soup kitchen.
Having been a Buddhist for quite some time, what was it about meeting Rinpoche? What is it about Kachara that made you take up the practice a bit more seriously?
Rinpoche was from onset. I mean, he was special. I mean, you attend his talks and you know that everything he says about is real. It applies to everybody's life. It's not superstitions. It's something where people can learn about themselves and also learn how to adapt to living. I mean, to living life, basically.
So what you're saying is there's certain element of truth, or rather there's a lot of truth in what Rinpoche taught and what in the things he said that resonated with you.
Yes, very much so.
And when did you come across the practice of Dorje Shugden? And can you tell us something about how you came across that and how your practice has been since?
I started practicing Dorje Shugden probably about 3 years ago. In the duration of my practice, I mean, I've seen what Dorje Shugden can do for many people. I mean, in terms of people coming into Dorje Shugden practice, learning about the teachings, doing the mantras, doing the pujas, and it's actually helped them to remove problems which, for example, like spirit attacks. They have also managed to help them to counter depression.
So you have actually seen changes in people
Yes.
after they have,
Yes.
from spirit attacks to curing or rather healing some emotional or mental ailments that they've been suffering with.
Yes, I mean, these are real people. I mean, people that I know of, that they were attacked by spirits, and they've actually come to ask for help. And when they got the Dorje Shugden practice, the mantras and the other teachings, I mean, they improve
Can
in
you
the
tell us a
situation.
bit about that? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
A bit about how, in your opinion, they improve.
Well, it's obvious when you look at them that when they first come in, knowing that they have some alien thing on them, or experiencing some, something extraordinary that they can't cope with, that causes sufferings to them. When they have done the pujas, you can see and they feel, and they will share with me as well that they've actually feel there were less attacks, they sleep better, they have better relationships with their families, better relationships with their spouses. Life changes around for them. It takes time. It's not an instantaneous thing, but with faith, with consistency, it actually helps.
From a personal experience, I just came to learn that even now your son, Matthew, has been hospitalized and he was warded about yesterday, having suffered from dengue. And I understand from you also that Dorje Shugden has helped him recover this time. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Matthew, my son, is 17 years old, and he was diagnosed with dengue fever about 8 days ago. Well, we stayed at home trying to nurse him and for about 5 days, And every day, his platelets starting dropping 50 to 60,000 points every day. I mean, it's very, very worrying as a parent. Dengue is something which is very rampant now in Malaysia. I mean, the statistics that are shown actually that dengue is it's more fatal than it was ever before. When you are a parent, you have to understand this, that if there was anything, you'd rather be the dengue patient.
Yes.
And how then am I going to be a parent if the dengue patient was my son, whom I loved so much? So I had to stay calm, and Matthew had to stay calm as well. I mean, the rest of the family as well. And we resorted to doing pujas, we resorted to doing mantras. At a certain level, it's compulsory to be warded in the hospital.
Yes. And
when Matthew was warded in the hospital, he started bleeding from his nose. Hemorrhaging dengue is fatal. So any form of hemorrhaging in any part of the body is not positive at all. He was bleeding very profusely for 4 hours. In so-called a nosebleed, nobody bleeds for 4 straight hours, I mean profusely. The ENT had to come and stuff something up his nose to stop his bleeding, but it was still continuing, though it slowed down. Rinpoche was very, very kind. He actually prescribed pujas. He did a Dorje Shugden puja. Right. Yeah. I understand it's a special puja for removal of such obstacles.
And what happened after that?
The bleeding stabilized. It was still bleeding, but it slowed down tremendously. That Matthew started to rest a bit more. He relaxed a bit more. But I continued to do the kanshak next to his bedside.
The kanshak being the prayer to clear obstacles and problems, yes.
Correct, yeah. And you just have to hold on to the fact that we have to wait for the results to come out to see that things improve or not, or what are the next steps to go about.
How is Matthew right now?
Oh, Matthew is much different now. Today, he got up and asked for a very heavy breakfast. He has not eaten for many days, a substantial meal. That, to me, as a mother, is a great sign. In terms of his blood test results, the platelets had turned around. So basically now it's on the uptrend. It's not going down anymore. And his bleeding has stopped tremendously. There is very, very slight bleeding. But the doctors want to keep him in the hospital for another day or so for observation. And if he's fine, then he will be discharged tomorrow.
Would you say this is just coincidence, or do you believe that the Dorje Shugden Puja made a big difference?
To me, definitely, in terms of the timing of the pujas, the timing of the blessings from the Guru, you can actually see that it was not just coincidence.
Not by chance.
Not by chance.
Because there's a marked difference before and after.
Yes, but I also want to say, right, even if people don't believe in such things, what I've gone through the last 8 days, I had tremendous support from so many people, whether they were friends, relatives, they were Dharma brothers and sisters. And many of these people that gave me support, whether in terms of well wishes, in terms of dedications, in terms of pujas, sponsoring pujas, gifts, anything, many of them were Dorje Shugden practitioners. To me, whether or not you want to believe the powers of Dorje Shugden, I relate to the powers of love, care, and kindness, generosity that was given to me in the last 1 week.
Kindness being a very common characteristic with people who practice Dorje Shugden, is what you're saying.
Yes.
But here's the thing, Grace. There are so many deities, so many Buddhas, so many protectors in the Tibetan Buddhist pantheon. Dorje Shugden is one that has been engulfed in some controversy. And yet, you have very strong faith in Dorje Shugden. Can you tell us why, and share a bit about more experience about why, in spite of the controversies, you still regard Dorje Shugden as a Buddha, as Manjushri, and continue to have such tremendous faith in Dorje Shugden?
I actually want to share what some of the things I've seen with, on my own, I mean, when you're a Dorje Shugden practitioner, luckily not so much in Malaysia, but people maybe who are Tibetans or anywhere else, physically, mentally, verbally abused for being a DS practitioner. They go through broken marriages that, you know, among the families, among the spouses, they are, one is for Dorje Shugden, one is against, and they decide because of a practice and a belief, they don't count on the love and support that they have for each other. Broken families, broken marriages, people who have gone through physical abuses, right? They were basically, they lost a lot of their properties. They also go through verbal abuses. You know, they were mentally tortured in that sense. And yet having suffered so much, and yet having sacrificed so much, they keep to their practice. They stay very steadfast in their faith. To me, all that is living Dharma.
Right. So from your observation that despite being, well, quite a bit of oppression, quite a bit of discrimination, that these people behave as if they have the Dharma, and these people are the practitioners of Dorje Shugden. How has the practice helped you personally in terms of your, the way you think, the way you feel, your outlook towards life?
Actually, I'm very inspired by all that's happening, whether it's locally or stories I watch or I see or watch abroad or anything like that. I think in all our lives we come across challenges, whether they're small challenges or big challenges. But when you have something with you, for me, that something is my guru, my Dharma protector, Dorje Shugden, my Dharma. I mean, having these three things in my life, it's a great asset if you want to look at it in the materialistic, but it's more than just asset. It's something that helps me to move on, to improve myself, and for me to, it may be a bit of a striving to move forward, to change certain things which I don't like about myself, but after all this, I actually like very much the new me that I've discovered.
In summary, you don't quite believe all the things said about Dorje Shugden, all the negative things said about Dorje Shugden.
I can't believe because the people that the Dorje Shugden practitioners that I have as friends or associates or teachers or whatsoever, they don't show me anything negative. Well, at least nothing more than I would get in the secular world. I mean, whatever I get from them, it's been consistently lots of kindness and care.
In other words, you cannot deny your very personal and real experience with the practice of Dorje Shugden.
Yes, it's real.
Thank you, Grace.
Thanks, Martin.
So we have heard from Grace Leong, a professional, logical, rational person, how Dorje Shugden has helped many people that she's introduced the practice to. Dorje Shugden has helped people overcome spirit disturbances, marital problems, business problems, and most recently, we have heard how Dorje Shugden has helped save Matthew, Grace's son. But this is not surprising because Dorje Shugden is by nature a Buddha who will help anyone, whoever he can, whether you practice him or you don't practice him. Thank you very much.